Welcome to Goya's Garden and Tie-Dyes. I'm Greg. Alright, today we will be working on a Gildan 1X and we will be doing a peace sign and a heart. The heart is already drawn on the back side. So I found my center mark and I'm marking at 60 degrees. And you want to draw a line from there down to the center. Okay, and you fold up, try to smooth it out best you can there, and then you fold it back. And like I said, this is the time you want to get all your wrinkles and what have you nice and smooth. If you take a little bit more time, it pays off in the end. I think we got it. And this is going to be a hot water irrigation. So anyway, now you fold all the way over. But we will be using regular dye bottles. This is how I did it when I first started. I didn't have a sprayer and the bottles worked just fine. Okay, so we're going to make our circle here. That's going to be the perimeter of your peace sign. And we'll get it all folded up. But yeah, like I was saying, with the water bottles, they work just fine. It might take a little bit longer, but it's less mess. You can do it in your house on a rainy day, on a Sunday day, whatever you want, in your sink, and you don't have to worry about it. So I know a few people were asking if they could use the sprayer in their bathtub, and I really highly did not suggest it because it does splatter. I have shoes to prove it. But my shoes were there to do that anyway. So this is just like a temporary hold on this right here. You'll see here in a minute. Okay, so the side of the fold with the most material on it, that's the side that you'll be pleating over, back and forth on itself. See, just kind of pleat it up there. And just let it roll over on that first sinew line that I tied. That's not very tight. That's just holding it in place as a marker to where I could put this. A lot of people just use string and hold it like that. I just go for the sinew and it seems to work out okay. But one thing I'm going to let you know right now, whenever you're doing hot water, you want to make sure if you're making sinew lines or want white lines, you have to really cinch it down. I actually only wrapped this up, I think it was 3 times around it. And I can tell you now, it wasn't enough. I should have did a couple more times and pulled it very, very, very tightly. Okay, so the part we just tied off is going to be the inside of the peace sign. Those little pleat lines will be your legs and the perimeter of the peace sign. And the line I'm doing right now will be the outside perimeter of the peace sign. Okay, just trying to make sure, or to see how high I can go up, because I do know I have a heart back there somewhere. So I'm just going to fold up one more line here to give us a little chance, a little extra on the outside of that peace sign. Tighten it up really good and yank it on down. But see there, I just wrapped it around twice. I should have wrapped it around more times. I don't know what I was thinking. I have been doing too many of the fan folds where you only want to wrap it around twice and don't pull it too hard because you actually want the dye to creep under the sinew. So this is the heart I drew on the back of it. I still don't have a pattern. My son's going to be making me up some here. I know I've been saying that, but he's a busy man right now. He's actually coming over for me tomorrow to lay some of that laminate floor downstairs for us, for the new girls that just moved in. That was really sweet of him. I'm not able to do it at the moment. We'll talk about that later. But anyway, I'm working on the heart. And I'm just doing the peace sign and the heart just to show you that you can do designs with the hot water, with the water bottles. And when you do use them, make sure you use gloves, not rubber gloves, nice thick work gloves, or little hot plate holders. And so we're getting the line straightened up here, and we're going to wrap that sinew around it and torch it down. Heart's never been one of my strong points. No matter how I draw them, they can be perfect, but I just can't fold them properly. For some reason, the very top where it dips in just gets all cattywampus. But there's not two of them the same, that's for sure. Everyone's different. Oh, and this shirt's going to be for our UPS driver. She's a sweetheart. She drives down the road and doesn't even have anything for us. She'll drop off a dog treat on the porch for our dog. That's pretty cool. So, anyway, we're gonna just wrap it around a few more times, get a few more details on the heart here if we can, and continue on. I think we're gonna do a scrunch on the rest of it. Just keep it simple. So, and as you know, I tie knots in everything. I've been watching a few people untying some geodes that they have, and they're having a hard time finding the end of it. You know, especially if you have several stop and starting points. But if you have a knot in it, you can find it every time. I've been doing that for over a year, and I learned that from Carl, Mr. Tie-Dye. And it may not seem like a whole bunch of great info, but it sure was for me. Saved me a lot of headaches. Yeah, so we're just going to wrap this around with some rubber bands, tying it down a little bit, not too much, just enough to get us some pattern going on in there. And in an upcoming video, I will show you how to stretch out the rubber bands and also how I mix my dye. I think I have a pretty simple method, even though I do my stuff outside, so it's still a lot easier. Okay, so we're using sea glass on this. Then we'll use bluebird, light red, deep purple. And sorry about that, I hit the camera with my head and it knocked it out of focus. But I don't know that until the end. I need to stop these things and take a look at them. But so that's the light red we're sticking on down there. And the bluebird and light red up in there. You'll see me go over it with several the same colors again. But that's the only 4 that we used. Okay, so as soon as my hand or the tip of the peace sign's out of the way, you'll be able to see what I'm doing. First time I did one of these for a demonstration, and the camera angle is all wrong. But I'm not squeezing the bottle. It's just barely trickling out. And you want to start on your outside edges on any of these that you do. If you start on the outside, it'll run down the side, but then all the center stuff will run towards the side that you just had run down that side, if you get what I'm saying. But anyway, it works out the best. And when you're doing the center of it up there also, you want to do the sides first so it all rolls down, covers that side up. Because if not, you're going to get a lot of white there without even knowing it. Okay, so that's the peace sign there. And you just work it in slow. You don't have to be hurried up about it or nothing like that. When I added the water in here, it was about 180 degrees. So it's a very, very hot bottle, and they soften up very quickly. You'll see here in a few minutes how the bottle is kind of collapsing in. It's just because it's so hot and so soft. But you can see on here that I'm not squirting it. I'm just kind of working it back and forth very slowly. Want it to sink in there. And the clothespins I have on either side is to hold the peace sign up level so it's not pointing straight down into the screen. And the same thing with the heart. so the whole shirt is not running down towards them. They are a little more even. And yeah, I used to put out 5 or 6 different shirts a day with the hot water. I used to come upstairs and had like a 40-gallon pot, and I'd get the hot water out of the sink and come down and keep it hot on my barbecuer and pour it in as I needed it. Yeah, it was really hot. But yeah, like I said, was about 180 degrees when I started out here. And if I didn't have these gloves on, it'd be a whole different story because I could feel the heat coming through the gloves. So that's why I switch hands back and forth. So slowly just keep on working it in, working it in. And the best way that I can tell if things are soaked through is when they start dripping out the bottom of it. Not off the sides of it, but center dripping straight down. Then you know you've made it all the way through. And that's going to be the same case with the scrunched up part of it too. Although the scrunch part is a little bit easier, it's a little harder with just the squirt bottle, but because it doesn't cover as much, but you do have a lot more control of what you do with it. You can see how down there my red is still red, where the blue and the deep purple didn't run down into it. And if you do the red first, you can always push it back up with the water if the purple or blue start to run down. You have a lot better control. So going back over to peace sign a little bit, then we're going to start on the body here. Yeah, I think that's all the way through. You can see the little drips going down on the bottom down there. And I did 3 16-ounce bottles. That's not too bad. Well, 3 16-ounce bottles and 16-ounce worth of water that was inside of a measuring cup. That once I was done here, I just poured that onto the center to make sure it was all nice and punched through. But see what I mean? I'm going to the outsides first, making sure that dye gets rolled down to the sides. Because if you do that, it'll roll down and underneath, and then you probably won't have to flip it. Everything else will punch down and cover nicely. But the total time it took me from adding the dye to adding the water to it and finished was 23 minutes. And then it probably sat out here maybe 45 minutes or so before I went upstairs and to clean it all up. But it's pretty much done when you're done. And the funny part, when you start to wash them out in cold water, there's hardly any dye coming out. So that way you know your water was hot enough and you did a great job. So we're continue going around trying to make sure we get the whole thing soaked. And sorry, there's no music in between this one right now. I was looking for a song, but they all just kept running together in my head. So I decided, what the heck? I haven't jabbered on through a video in a long time. So I'm going to jabber. But once again, too, Nancy, congratulations on your tapestry. That was a lot of fun for me. We had 49 entries. That was pretty good. And I gained almost 20 new subscribers out of that. Okay, so here's the rest of the hot water that I had in the measuring cup. And I'm just doing the center of it. And you can see all the water splashing down into the tub there. So we're good to go. All right, well, here's the heart. It's a little cattywampus, but nice crisp lines. Then peace sign, like I said, I didn't tie it off tight enough. You still have the peace sign, but it's not nice and crisp. And some of the dye slid underneath it, so it's kind of covering up. But it's still there. I'm just calling it an abstract peace sign. And come back into the heart. But the heart did come out crisp. It's a little wonky, but it works. Okay. I think that's going to be it. Thank you, everybody, for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If you liked it, please hit like. And if you want to share it, by all means, please do. Once again, thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.